The origins and establishment of Petra by the Nabateans represent a fascinating chapter in the history of the ancient Near East. Before the arrival of the Nabateans, the region around Petra had been inhabited by Edomites and likely other nomadic tribes. Archaeological evidence suggests that the area was occupied as early as 7000 BC by pastoral nomadic communities. The Nabateans initially emerged as a nomadic tribe, originally part of the broader Arabian culture, with their own language and customs. They are believed to have migrated to the region from the Arabian Peninsula around the 6th century BC. As they settled, the Nabateans transitioned from a nomadic lifestyle to an urban one and gradually developed a unique identity. They had their own language, which was a dialect of Aramaic, and developed a script, the Nabatean script, which eventually evolved into the Arabic script. The Nabateans practiced a polytheistic religion, worshipping a pantheon of Arabian deities, and their religious practices influenced the architectural layout and design of Petra. Around the 4th century BC, the Nabateans began to establish Petra as a major settlement. They strategically chose a remote valley surrounded by rugged sandstone mountains and cliffs in southern Jordan for its location. These natural geographical features provided excellent defenses against potential invaders. The main entrance to Petra is through a narrow, winding gorge called the Siq, which could be easily defended and controlled, making the city almost impregnable in ancient times. Petra was situated at the intersection of several important trade routes that linked the Far East with the Mediterranean world. These routes were crucial for the trade of goods like silk from China, spices from India, incense from southern Arabia, and myrrh from Africa. The location allowed the Nabateans to control and tax the caravans that passed through, thus providing a significant source of income. As a result, the city became a crucial center for the trade of luxury goods. Despite being in a desert region, Petra had access to springs and water sources. The Nabateans expertly managed these resources, creating a complex system to collect and store rainwater and flash floodwaters. Petra's strategic position made it not only a commercial center but also a cultural and political hub in the region. This facilitated interactions and exchanges between different cultures and empires, contributing to the rise of the Nabateans as a powerful trading kingdom. They were able to exert influence over surrounding regions and maintain their independence for centuries against larger empires. Petra's architecture, much of which is carved directly into the rose-colored sandstone cliffs, reflects the Nabateans' unique construction approach. Unlike traditional methods where buildings are erected from the ground up, the Nabateans used a top-down approach for their rock-cut structures. They began carving from the top of the rock cliffs and worked their way downwards. This required precise planning and careful mapping of the entire design before starting, as any mistake made could not be undone. The Nabateans used various hand tools, such as chisels and hammers made from iron and other metals, to intricately carve the sandstone, a relatively soft rock that allowed for detailed and elaborate designs. Workers stood on scaffolding constructed to reach the higher levels, carving the upper sections of the cliffs. The facades and interiors of Petra's buildings feature elaborate sculptures and reliefs, including depictions of deities, mythical creatures, and symbolic motifs. The rock-cut architecture of Petra demonstrates influences from Nabatean, Hellenistic, and later Roman styles, apparent in the classical columns, motifs, and symmetrical layouts of the facades. These buildings, serving as tombs, temples, and possibly residences, often display a remarkable sense of symmetry and proportion, reflecting a sophisticated understanding of architectural design principles. Iconic examples of this architecture include the Treasury and the monastery. The Treasury, known for its elaborate facade with columns, sculptures, and intricate decorations, was likely a mausoleum or a temple. The monastery, larger than the Treasury, features a simpler Hellenistic architectural style. An important aspect of the Nabateans' architectural planning was accounting for the natural weathering of the sandstone. They integrated features like water channels and gutters into their designs to direct rainwater away from the facades, effectively reducing erosion and preserving the integrity of the structures over time. Given Petra's susceptibility to flash floods and water erosion, the design of rock-cut structures also had to consider effective water drainage to protect the buildings. The Nabateans engineered an advanced system to harness every possible drop of water in a region with limited rainfall. This included dams, channels, cisterns, and reservoirs strategically placed to collect rainwater and runoff. To protect Petra from destructive flash floods, strategically placed dams diverted water flow away from key areas, safeguarding the city's infrastructure and inhabitants. Water was distributed throughout Petra via a comprehensive network of ceramic pipes and stone channels designed to minimize evaporation and efficiently manage the city's water supply. To reduce water loss and contamination, underground terracotta pipes were used, ensuring a consistent supply to residential and public areas, as well as for irrigation purposes. The Nabateans showcased remarkable precision in their hydraulic engineering, with carefully calculated gradients for consistent water flow and sedimentation chambers for water purification. The stored water was extensively used for irrigation, transforming the arid environment into a productive agricultural landscape, supporting crop cultivation. Petra's urban design seamlessly integrated with its rugged terrain, where buildings, including residences, were often carved into the sandstone cliffs, blending architecture with the natural landscape. The city's layout featured central public spaces, such as marketplaces and ceremonial areas, with residential zones primarily situated on the outskirts. This thoughtful design facilitated efficient movement and interaction among its inhabitants. Within Petra's landscape, significant public buildings, including temples, theaters, and plazas, underscored the cultural and social importance of communal spaces. Notably, the city boasted an amphitheater artfully carved into the hillside, emphasizing its strong emphasis on social and cultural gatherings. Petra's historical significance goes beyond its engineering and urban planning. Its connection to biblical narratives and figures adds another layer of importance. The city is believed to be near the biblical site of Sela, as mentioned in the Old Testament, creating a profound link to various biblical stories. Additionally, Islamic, Jewish, and Christian traditions suggest that the burial site of Aaron, the brother of Moses, is located near Petra, on Jabal Harun, Mount Aaron, making it a pilgrimage destination for followers of these faiths. Petra boasts numerous significant religious edifices, including temples, altars, and elevated worship sites. These structures were thoughtfully positioned to accentuate the innate beauty and power of the surrounding landscape. Among them, the Qasr al-Bint stands out, an imposing freestanding temple dedicated to Dushara. The city's rock-cut tombs, like the iconic Treasury and the royal tombs, are also believed to carry religious significance, serving as monumental resting places for the deceased and symbols of reverence for ancestors. The royal tombs, encompassing the urn tomb, the silk tomb, the Corinthian tomb, and the palace tomb, earned their royal title due to their grandeur and prominent locations. Although it's uncertain whether they housed royalty, these tombs typically feature large burial chambers, some with smaller inner chambers. The precise burial customs and rituals remain partially obscured, but it is believed that they involve the reverential interment of the deceased and offerings for the afterlife. The tomb's origins, the identities of the interred, and the complete spectrum of associated rituals continue to be subjects of archaeological inquiry. The facades of the tombs display an array of symbols and figures, including mythological creatures and gods. These intricate carvings likely held symbolic meanings linked to concepts of death, eternity, and protection in the afterlife. Petra's religious practices encompassed a diverse array of rituals, including animal sacrifices, processions, and prayers. Betels, sacred stones, served as focal points for worship, often found nestled in niches within temples and tombs. Vast open spaces in Petra, such as the theater and the colonnaded street, possibly hosted religious festivals and communal gatherings, underscoring the community's shared devotion. Some structures in Petra even exhibit celestial alignments, suggesting the role of astronomical events in Nabatean religious practices. The wealth of Petra was intricately linked to its role as a thriving trading hub. The Nabateans established a monopoly over the incense and spice trade in the region, commodities highly sought after in the ancient world. As their wealth and influence expanded, so did their political structure. This evolution led to the establishment of a kingdom, with Petra as its capital and a king as the central figure of authority. By the 1st century BC, the Nabateans had started to come into contact with the Roman Empire. Initially, they maintained their independence through diplomacy, but gradually they became more entwined with Roman affairs. In the years leading up to the Roman annexation in 106 AD, the Nabatean kingdom's influence began to wane, partly due to internal struggles and the changing political dynamics of the region. In 106 AD, under Emperor Trajan, the Nabatean kingdom was peacefully annexed by the Roman Empire, turning Petra into part of the Roman province of Arabia Petraea. Roman rule led to a blending of Nabatean and Roman customs, visible in Petra's art, architecture, and religious practices. By the 4th century, Christianity began to spread in the region, and several churches were built in Petra, indicating a shift in religious practices. After the Roman annexation in 106 AD, Petra continued to prosper for a while. However, over time, the city's status as a provincial capital diminished under Roman rule. The gradual shift from land-based trade routes to sea-based routes diminished Petra's role as a commercial hub. This change, along with increased competition from other cities, led to a decline in economic prosperity. This shift was exacerbated by the Roman Empire's preference for sea routes to transport goods. A series of earthquakes, particularly a severe one in 363 AD, caused significant damage to Petra, including its water management systems. The city struggled to recover fully from these natural disasters. In the 5th century, control of the region shifted to the Byzantine Empire. Petra continued as a regional center but with diminishing prominence. The Byzantine period saw a consolidation of Christian presence in Petra. Several Byzantine churches were built, adorned with mosaics, indicating ongoing urban and religious life. The spread of Christianity under the Byzantine Empire also played a role. While Petra had several Christian churches, the shift in religious and administrative centers away from Petra further contributed to its decline. The Arab conquests of the 7th century marked the end of Byzantine control. While Petra did not immediately lose its significance, the political and economic focus gradually shifted away from the city. The establishment of Islamic rule and the shifting of trade and political centers to other regions, like Damascus and Baghdad, further diminished Petra's importance. Over the centuries, as Petra lost its economic, political, and religious significance, it was gradually abandoned. By the time of the Islamic era, Petra was no longer a prominent urban center. This decline and eventual desertion led to Petra's history becoming virtually unknown to the Western world, with only local Bedouin tribes aware of its location, which they kept as a closely guarded secret. The rediscovery of Petra for the Western world was made in 1812 by a Swiss explorer named Burckhardt. Disguised as an Arab scholar to blend into the local society, Burckhardt aimed to visit Aaron's tomb near Petra. His journey led him through the Sikh, where he documented his first encounter with the Treasury, Al-Khazne, bringing Petra back into the light of modern awareness. In contemporary times, Petra stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a key destination for tourists, and a vital location for archaeological and historical research, providing deep insights into the Nabatean civilization. Its prominence in popular culture, especially after being featured in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, has significantly increased its fame. Despite its fame, Petra faces challenges due to its fragile sandstone structures, which are susceptible to erosion from wind, rain, and temperature fluctuations. This erosion particularly threatens the intricate carvings of its ancient facades. Furthermore, the site suffers from the effects of tourism, such as physical contact and foot traffic, which accelerates its deterioration. Addressing the challenge of preserving Petra while accommodating tourists, crucial for the local economy, involves a delicate balance. Conservation efforts are underway, including restoration projects to repair and stabilize the damaged structures, with many of these initiatives involving international collaboration. Utilizing advanced technologies like 3D scanning, experts are monitoring the site's condition, assisting in conservation planning, and creating digital archives to ensure Petra's preservation for future generations. Thanks for coming along on our journey through Petra's incredible history. It's been a real adventure uncovering the mysteries of this ancient site, and we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. If this video sparked your interest, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating explorations into history and culture from all around the globe. We'd love to hear what you think. If you have any comments, questions, or insights about Petra or other historical wonders, please share them with us in the comments section. See you in our next adventure.